Welcome to Moose Plays, everyone. I'm the Liquor Moose, and today we will be going over my Week 2 team builder for the second season of the UPA D-League. This week we are going up against the Los Angeles Jiragalaxy, coached by none other than African Goku. And yeah, obviously we won our last game 6-0, which is an extremely big win and puts us, I believe, in first place. But there is still one game from Week 1 to still be played at the time of recording. So yeah, obviously we painted a pretty big target on our backs, and everyone's going to try to take down the quote-unquote big guy. But even on top of that, African Goku also did win last week, so he is definitely looking to keep the momentum going forward to try to pick up another win and go 2-0 instead of 1-1, just the same as we are, and we are going to absolutely build a team that will more like help us most try to I'm trying to build my best is basically what I'm trying to say here, but let me tell you, building for African Goku's team was not exactly easy because his team is pretty threatening. So let's just go over his team right now. He drafted Mew, Mega Mawile, Dragonite, Melodic, Dhelmise, Umbreon, Galvantula, Blaziken, Crobat, and regular Sandslash. His Z move users being the Dragonite, Blaziken, and Sandslash. So looking at threats from Goku's side, the obvious choice there is like the obvious big one is the Mega Mawile. That thing hits way too hard. Luckily, I do have a pretty naturally good check to it, but again, this is draft format, so African Goku can definitely play around with that. But yeah, past that, Dragonite is a very potent offensive threat that's way too bulky to kill in one shot, just purely because of multi-scale. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, so Dragonite's hard to kill, and obviously with Z move, like Z Fly is just gonna nuke whatever whatever he wants. But yeah, Blaziken is actually a pretty potent offensive threat. Its mixed capabilities and mixed offensive stats are really good in this match, even though it doesn't really take a hit all that well, but that's just the the nature of Blaziken. And then past that, the other big threat, well, there's a couple. Like, he has the potential for Webs or Trick Room. He brought Trick Room last week. I don't think it's as viable against my team as, say, Webs would, so I more so expect Webs to show up than Trick Room, if anything. So Galvantula might be coming. And then the last big one is obviously the Mew, and the Mew is just way too versatile. Like, it's extremely hard to check in prep, even though I have a pretty good idea of which kind of Mew he wants to bring. And then at the same time, like, Mew's bulk, even when it's offensive, Mew's bulk is just way too it's just way too bulky to OHKO with one thing. Like, you pretty much have to set up like extensively to even attempt to OHKO it. But yeah, and then past that, his defenses are really good. Like, he has a Melodic, Dhelmise, Umbreon core, and adding on top of that is like just a Crobat for some fast utility, and then a Sandslash, which might seem underwhelming at first, but I think it has a legitimate bring, even just for one purpose. But yeah, so that's kind of my overall thoughts about African Goku's team. So let's take a look at what I'm bringing to the table. So first off, we have our physically defensive Skarmory with Rocky Helmet, Stealth Rock, Roost, Whirlwind, and Brave Bird, and this is obviously going to be my first switch into the Mega Mawile. After a round of Rocky Helmet damage, Mega Mawile gets in range of a lot of attacks on the rest of my team, so the Rocky Helmet was important. I need the Stealth Rocks here because, like, overall on African Goku's team, Spikes would actually be better, but I specifically need Rocks specifically for the Dragonite. Otherwise, having Rocks up is going to be crucial just to break that thing's multi-scale, in all honesty. And then obviously Roost for recovery. However, like I said, since this is Draft League format, African Goku, a pretty common tech with Mega Mawile users going up against a team with a Skarmory is to click Focus Punch on the turn that they're supposed to go for Roost. So what I anticipate happening is basically if I switch in my Skarmory onto the Mega Mawile and he goes for an Iron Head or Play Rough, I'm pretty free to go for Roost, because then I get my Sturdy up, and then his Focus Punch can't kill me because I have Sturdy. So that's one thing I expect. The other thing that could happen is, well, I guess more than likely I might not click Roost, but the other thing that could happen is he could predict my Skarmory switch in and just click Thunder Punch, which is, I think, the preferred coverage move for Skarmory. It's either that or Fire Fang with Thunder Punch just hits harder. But yeah, so if he clicks the Thunder Punch, it does bring me, it is a 2-hit KO, but then I get 1 Rocky Helmet damage off, and then I can go into an immunity. I have 2 here, I have 2 electric immunities here, as I kind of doubt he clicks Iron Head or Play Rough on this, but anyways. The reason I have Whirlwind here is because if he does go for Iron Head or Play Rough or Thunder Punch or whatever on the turn I'm supposed to roost, then I can just safely click Whirlwind instead to Whirlwind it out. And I thought about just like, because I could just attack it with Brave Bird, but having Whirlwind is also a deterrent in case he is a Swords Dance variant. So yeah, I think Whirlwind is just better for that. And then I need a Brave Bird here to somewhat damage the Dhelmise in case he decides to switch it in on this. As basically, like, Dhelmise's attacks, besides knockoff, don't really do a whole lot to Skarmory, so I just wanted a way to properly take the Dhelmise out, or at least chip it down enough. But yeah, so again, not too much to say about this Skarmory. It's obviously max defensive to deal with a Mawile. And yeah, so like I said, Mega Mawile after 1 Rocky Helmet damage gets in range of a lot of my attackers, and this is going to be the main one, which is my Life Orb Hydreigon. We are modest because we, basically because we can. I still outspeed even a Jolly Dragonite, which is the thing I'm trying to speed creep. It technically, in terms of speed tiers, it should be the Melodic, but no one runs max speed Melodic. But yeah, so with this, after 1 round of Rocky Helmet damage, a max HP Mega Mawile does get knocked out by Flamethrower. And then past that, like, just these 3 coverage moves is just really good to hit African Goku's team just pretty much neutrally. Draco Meteor pretty much nukes everything that doesn't resist or is immune, and then past that I have Dark Pulse for Mew, and then Flamethrower specifically for Mawile, but can hit Dhelmise on the switch. Obviously, I'd rather hit Dark Pulse, but this can also nuke something like, oh god, I can't think, Galvantula. The funny thing about this set is that actually to an offensive Dragonite, Draco Meteor does have a chance to OHKO even through the multi-scale, so that's that's just how powerful Hydreigon is with a Life Orb. It's actually insane. He has like limited dedicated switch-ins other than the Umbreon, which actually I don't remember how much it takes. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna cut and check. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, Umbreon is a pretty decent switch into this, but like we see with just even this sitting here, I have an okay switch into, or not switch into the to the Umbreon, but something that can take advantage of Umbreon, I guess is the better way to put it. So Umbreon is definitely his best switch into Hydreigon, so I do kind of expect that. But yeah, like, other than that Umbreon, like, this thing kind of just dents African Goku's team because, well, I mean, to be fair, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be able to take Life Orb, like Draco's Dark Pulse Flamethrowers, from a modest Hydreigon. We have Roost here because, honestly, I didn't really need the last coverage move, which is surprising for me because, especially it being me, you'd expect U-Turn in this last slot, but I typically don't like U-Turn plus Life Orb. Especially not on a special attacking Pokemon like this, because like U-Turn is not supposed to have the greatest damage output on a special attacker. It's specifically for momentum, and just getting momentum at the cost of 10% of my HP. Not exactly where I want to be. So instead, if I force switches, I can just roost up and heal up the damage that Life Orb has done to my Hydreigon. And yeah, not too much to say about this. Other than it just hits hard and has really good coverage for his team. Next up, we do have my Tornadus. Now, Tornadus is, I mean, it's kind of similar to last week, other than us being special this time around. Z Hurricane, obvious nuke to his team. It pretty much deals over 50% to everything, even his bulky shit, like the Mew, the Melodic, the Umbreon. Does over 50% of those, and then it can straight up OHKO some of the... it might not. Okay, this might not be able to deal 50% to like Z Hurricane might not be able to deal 50% to Mega Mawile, but that's just because it's a resist. But to be fair, this the Mega Mawile is his only flying resist. Like, that's kind of why Z Hurricane was really good in this match. I thought at first about having Z Fire Blast on this for the Mega Mawile, but I went with Life Orb instead, just because all I needed was 1 Rocky Helmet damage, and then Flamethrower can kill. But yeah, so we have the Z-Fly here. The main purpose, actually, of the Z-Fly, while it does nuke pretty much his entire team, the big one is that on offensive Dragonite, I can go into Icy Wind to A, break the multi-scale, and B, decrease its speed on his potential Dragon Dance, and then I can kill it with Z-Hurricane, and his extreme speed isn't doing a ridiculous amount to me. It's doing less than 50%. So yeah, those are the 2 big things. Taunt is here to basically shut down the Umbreon, as taunted, it can really only go for foul play. And then U-turn is obvious for the like momentum shenanigans. So we're kind of like the 2 core here is mostly to break the Dragonite, but Icy Wind is nice in the case where he does bring the Sticky Webs, so I can decrease the speed on any of his Pokemon to kind of like get on the same level as if we didn't have webs up. And then Taunt is also here in case his Mew is like defensively orientated, or something like his Melodic wants to recover, or Umbreon, it shuts down Umbreon. Like, there's a lot of things that I could want to taunt here, and then U-turn is just for obvious shenanigans. Obviously the speed is here for it would be the Galvantula, since he does have the Crobat. I can't outspeed that. And then I just, again, like with the same thing as last time, even though I'm even HP, it won't matter, because when even being even HP on this, usually you want odd, but me switching out on with this, I get Regenerator back, so I usually end up with I probably won't usually end up with an odd number. I don't remember how much HP I actually get back, but it is exactly an HP. Like, if I'm under 33%, then I will return with full. But anyways, yeah, again, not much to say about this Tornadus. I think it's just really good in this matchup, and these 2 moves specifically are meant to shut down the Dragonite, but each to their own is specifically good in the matchup. And then same thing with Taunt and U-turn. I just think this utility-heavy Tornadus is going to be really good in this match. Next up, we have my Mega Gallade, and I said in my draft analysis that 4 move slot syndrome in Draft League isn't really a thing, and boy was I wrong for this one. So like I said, even though Mew is versatile, I do fully expect a physically defensive Mew, specifically for my Mega Gallade. And because of that, I do expect it to have Will-O-Wisp, so I need the substitute to be able to dodge the Will-O-Wisp, and plus sub gives me like the Sucker Punch shenanigans on the Mega Mawile and stuff like that. Plus I can dodge the Toxics from the Umbreon. I need setup on Mega Gallade to be able to punch hard, so I believe so I know I need bulk up, because if I'm Swords Dance, then Umbreon's Foul Play just does a ridiculous amount to me, whereas no matter how many times I bulk up, Foul Play from Umbreon does the same amount no matter how many times I click bulk up. And then Drain Punch at +1, I believe this might be enough investment to OHKO a max specially defensive Umbreon. So that's kind of the way I take advantage of it. And then, like I said, like it was mostly the 2 attacking moves that were giving me the most trouble. So pretty much I had 2 move slot syndrome. I can't have stabs because then I get, what did I wall? Oh, I can't have stabs because I get walled by the Mew. Excuse me. If I have Zen Headbutt plus X Scissor, I get walled by something. What do I get walled by? There's something, I know. I guess not really the Mega Mawile. Okay, there was something that I couldn't hit if I was Zen Head. Oh no, it was mostly because I wanted Drain Punch. Like Zen Headbutt X Scissor did cross my mind, but then I don't have HP recovery. If I have Drain Punch plus X Scissor, I can't touch the Crobat. Stabs, I can't touch the Mew. And I originally didn't want knockoff on this set because, like I said, physically defensive Mew is most likely for this set, and I do highly anticipate him to be Colbur Berry specifically for knockoffs on my Mega Gallade. So that's why I originally wanted X Scissor. But like I said, I really want to Drain Punch to get the HP recovery back from all of my subs. Otherwise, if I was Swords Dance, I might actually go for Zen Headbutt instead. But yeah, so I'm just going to go with Drain Punch knockoff, because even, worst case scenario, even if he is Colbur Berry Mew, I can knock that off, and in the worst case, I pop the Colbur Berry, and if he's physically defensive, it means he can't outspeed Hydreigon, which means Dark Pulse is a guaranteed OHKO. So yeah, that's kind of the way I looked at this. Again, the attack investment is for at +1 I can OHKO, especially defensive Umbreon. The speed is here for the Galvantula once again, and then I have enough HP here for the full amount of like 4 substitutes, leaving at 1 HP. But yeah, so again, like I had a lot of difficulty debating the moveset. The spread was pretty, like once I figured out I want a Drain Punch knockoff, the spread was pretty easy to figure out. But yeah, so not too much to say about Megaane, other than what I already said. Next up, Jolteon. This is really the main reason I expect Sandslash to show up at all. There is, like, he might not bring it, but if he does, it is specifically for the Jolteon, and for that reason I actually thought about running Baton Pass instead of Volt Switch, but realistically, if I brought Baton Pass and he didn't bring the Sandslash, then I would have it would have just plain sucked, because getting the Volt Switch damage off, even just for a little bit of chip, is always necessary. But yeah, Thunderbolt is obviously here. This is going to be the main way I try to take down the Melodic. I did think about bringing Celebi instead, but I mean, he does have both Galvantula and Crobat to take advantage of it, so it just wasn't really, I wasn't really feeling it. I know this looks really standard, and obviously I have Magnet instead of Life Orb, just to try to keep my HP at a reasonable amount of health. But the coverage I get is just too good for the matchup, even though it looks like extremely standard. This one really has not too much to say. We have to be max in order to speed tie Crobat, and I'm not risking reducing my speed because this is a speed tie that Jolteon always wants to win. So, excuse me, and it's a Jesus, I can't. Anyways, it's a speed tie that Jolteon always wants to win, and it's a speed tie that Crobat cannot afford to lose. So I do expect him to not run max speed, so this way I will always be faster than his Crobat. Again, not too much to say about this. It's extremely straightforward, yes, but it's good enough in this match that I think it'll be fine, and hopefully he doesn't bring the Sandslash, but if he does, I'm going to have to just wear it down a little bit. Lastly, I thought a lot about this last slot. Like, my first thought was I had Diancie in here, because A, he has the Trick Room option, and B, he only has 2 Fairy Resists in his Mega Mawile and his Crobat, and then everything else is either weak or neutral to Fairy, so I thought, hey, that's actually a pretty decent offensive typing here. But his Mega Mawile always gets a free switch into it because my other stab is Rock, which Mega Mawile also resists, and then I actually did the calc, and because I would more than likely want to run more of a defensive Diancie, the Moonblast damage on most of the stuff actually wasn't really all that worth it. And then my thought was maybe Choice Scarf Magmortar would be good here, but if I have Choice Scarf Magmortar, I really don't have a good answer to the Umbreon, only because, oh man, I can't think. I don't have a good answer to the Umbreon because, like, it's just too specially bulky. Even, like, just Choice Scarf just wouldn't work. Really, all I would have for it is the Megaane, which I don't really want to switch into a Toxic onto it. But yeah, like, Umbreon became too much of an issue if I didn't bring Magmortar, so I ended up bringing Diggersby instead with Assault Vest. This gives me a better switch into the Galvantula if he does bring it, as assuming if he's not Life Orb, then he can't 2-hit KO me with anything, and Return is still a 2-hit KO on it. It seems weird that Diggersby is here when my opponent has a Dhelmise, which is a really good check to this, but I'm more than likely going to click Knockoff on the first time I bring this in, as, again, I'm more meaning this to be like a utility and momentum gaining Diggersby, Knockoff to knock off the items, and then U-turn just to gain some momentum, because there are a few things that I really don't expect him to switch in onto this. I don't know if he would switch in Dragonite. If he expects Band, I don't think he would switch in the Dragonite. If he expects Scarf, or sorry, if he expects Band, he might switch in on the Dragonite. If he expects Scarf, then there's no way he's switching in onto this Diggersby. But yeah, he's not going to switch in even though Blaziken is a good offensive check to this, he's not switching it in on a potential Return or Earthquake. Like, it just seems weird. Like, it's definitely going to be Dhelmise switches in on this all the time, but then at that token, I believe Knockoff doesn't OHKO it, but I don't remember. I also don't remember if it brings it in range of U-turn or not. It's close. I know it's definitely close. Knockoff it's a close OHKO. I think it's max 92% on a max HP Dhelmise. It's something like that. But yeah, like I said, this is more meant. I'm more than likely going to click these 2 moves more often than not, and it's only when it's like completely safe to click the move, like these 2, is when I'm going to go for them. more than likely this, as when the Delmise goes down, there's really, like, clicking return is no drawback, as Mega Mawile cannot outspeed this. We have enough speed, by the way, to outspeed a no-speed Mew. Clicking, like, his Sucker Punch does over 50%, but he can't outspeed this, so as long as this is above, oh god, I think it's like 64 is the max, so as long as he's above that, I guess, I can freely go for Earthquake on Mega Mawile, but even then, like, there's not really much purpose in that. I can literally, if he plans to go for Sucker Punch, I can just switch this out and go into my Skarmory again. But yeah, I think Diggersby has an alright matchup, but again, this is the slot I was like really not sure about. I really didn't come up with this until like pretty much like 10 minutes before I started recording this. But yeah, so this could very well change, and if it does change, I will definitely let you guys know at the start of the battle. And yeah, we're done the team builder from here, so I guess let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and go check out African Goku. I don't know if he left a link. He might not upload, and if he doesn't, then I guess I'm sorry, you can't really check him out. But if he does leave a link to YouTube, a YouTube channel or his Twitter in the doc, I will definitely link it. And again, I'm sorry if he doesn't have a link. But yeah, so keep your eye out on the channel tomorrow for when the battle goes live. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.